What's going on, guys, gals, non-binary pals? Artisan Kane here with another team breakdown. So last week we played against the Carolina Conkelders. We played Marcus. The Quiver Dance Baton Pass worked extremely well, and we were able to defeat him. Though it did come down to the last Mon, which had me really nervous there. Wobbuffet versus Weavile. Luckily, we got a min roll, and we were able to clinch that one. So this week we're going up against my good friend Mario, aka Jigglypuff Stan, coach of the Houston Tech Stans. If you see here on the right is his team. He's got a lot of threats. Let's go through it real quick here. So Clefable, it's probably the best bulky pivot in the game right now, especially with teleport acting the way it does now. It can freely wish and soft boiled and pass support. It can also just straight up have a calm mind offensive set. Really a lot that can go on with Clefable, so it's really hard to predict. Cloyster is one of my favorite mons. It's got access to the ability Skill Link, which means that each time it hits a multi-hit move, it always hits the maximum amount. So when it can fire off these icicle spears and these rock blasts and hit every single one. When you couple that with access to the boost of a move like Shell Smash, that thing can absolutely go on a tear. And honestly, it's something that turn one, if it gets up a Shell Smash, it can just destroy a team. And that's something that we definitely have to be aware of going into this game. Going forward, we've got Deblade. So that Ghost Steel, it's definitely plays a different role than Aegis Slash does. It's fully evolved form, but it still offers a lot of bulk. Generally carries something like an Avia to give it the extra bulk, similar to the way we use Piloswine and Piloswine instead of having Mamoswine. But Deblade, Steel having all those resists, Ghosts being as powerful as they are in this current metagame. It's really difficult to deal with. Good thing with the Blade, though, is that it's just very, very slow. So if we're able to get some hits off on it first, we can try to get it out the way before it starts. Either getting a sub-toxic thing going or whatever craziness Mario has planned. Next, we've got Eldegoss. It's a new addition to Mario's roster. Eldegoss is extremely bulky. It's also got access to Rapid Spin. He obviously knows that Stealth Rocks can be a problem for him. So he's got multiple spinners now because he's got Cloyster and Eldegoss. But Eldegoss also gives him another mon that resists water. Now, the importance of being able to resist water means that I can't freely switch into Dracovish and just spam Fish's Rend. I need to have a lot of conditions met before Dracovish can even see the field and click that move. So that means we've got to be very cautious in understanding our win conditions, especially against a mon like Eldegoss. Eldegoss can also do stuff like Cotton Guard, putting its defenses through the roof, which means that it can be very difficult for a mon like Dracovish or Piloswine to hit it, even if it's a super effective move. Dracozolt is a very powerful sweeper for him in a format that allows Dynamax. Dracozolt can get off a max airstream and then just start sweeping after that speed boost. It also has access to Hustle, which means that a Hustle Life Orb set is really common, which can be a real problem because that means you can just run 4 offensive moves for coverage and then just start tearing through teams once you Dynamax. Because the Hustle doesn't matter once you're Dynamax because all your moves are going to hit. So we either have to kill it before it gets into Dynamax or try to play around the Dynamax and see if we can predict in a Max Wormwind, for example, that we're switching in our Rabombi that doesn't affect. Stuff like that. And last but definitely not least is Diggersby. I know Mario really likes the choice band set on Diggersby. It's a very, very powerful mon. The stab quick attack is also really, really powerful. And having that stab is huge. It should also be mentioned that Diggersby is it has access to the huge power ability, which is most often what you see on them because it offers such a huge boost to attack. So when you put that plus the choice band plus the stab moves, you're talking about an attack that can be off the chart super fast. And the other thing is, he's also got the option to run like a Scarf set on it, and Scarf Diggersby is a huge problem. It outspeeds everything on my team. So after looking at his team, this is kind of what we came up with. We'll go through it here. I kind of do expect a Cloister lead. It's not too uncommon to try to get a turn one shell smash off. So the way we're going to try to counter that is we're going to lead with Lysithea, the Mandibuzz. I've got enough speed on Mandibuzz plus a Jolly Nature to be able to taunt turn one and outspeed the Cloister, depending on what, even if it's a max speed Jolly also. So that means that we can taunt it. It won't be able to smash, and then it'll be forced to either choose one of those moves like an Icicle Spear or a Rock Blast, or it'll be forced to switch. So on turn two, then we can either U-turn out, we can get a knockoff off, what have you. We have some options there to try to deal with it. And that speed is also important because if the Cloister is a King's Rock set, we don't want to be trying to play against the RNG and making sure that we can get a hit off before we get hit. Because if we start getting flinched to death, that's going to be really embarrassing to lose like that in the playoffs. Next, we've got Claude, the Ribombi. Focus Sash. I think I've run Focus Sash on Ribombi just about every week all season. We're doing a different set this week. We're going Quiver Dance plus 3 attacks. Energy Ball, Bug Buzz, Moon Blast. That kind of covers most of our bases. It still doesn't really touch Doublade or Clefable. But with a modest nature after +1 special attack, that kind of gives us a good idea of putting some real big damage on his team. Energy Ball for the Diggersby and Cloister, the Bug Buzz for the Eldegoss, and Moon Blast for Dracozolt. We are running max HP. Try to get a little bit more HP on there. Obviously, it's a very frail mon, so it doesn't really matter too much. But we'll take what we can get. We're running modest with max special attack. No speed investment. And the reason for that is Ribombi's got such a high speed stat that Mario's team won't really be able to touch it unless he's running something that's scarfed or that's already set up at like +1 after a max airstream, that type of thing. Which is definitely a possibility. Or if after Cloister gets a smash up, that kind of stuff. There's definitely a possibility, but obviously we don't want to be in that situation. Next is Hydreigon, Shamir. We're running Life Orb for attacks. It's kind of our Dynamax of choice. It's kind of why we're going with those 4 attacks. Our dual stab coverage in Dark Pulse and Draco Meteor, and then Fire Blast and Flash Cannon kind of round out coverage on the stuff like Clefable and Eldegoss. We've got enough HP, we have enough speed there to make sure that we're outspeeding something like a Banded Diggersby, which means it's outspeeds the rest of his team, even if it's not, unless something is scarfed. Next, we've got Wobbuffet here, Raphael. Kind of same set. It's pretty standard to run on the Wobbuffet. Counter Destiny Bond, Encore, Miracle. Basically, Boba Fett is just a matter of trying to guess what the opposition is going to do. If they're setting up, you try to, encore lock them into that. Destiny Bond, if you can try to trap them, that type of thing. Or if you think you could take the counter, or if you can take a physical or special attack, you just counter and mirror coat them back, etc. I would not be surprised if one of his Mons is running Shed Shell this week to make sure it doesn't get trapped. That's pretty common when you see a trapper on the other team. Next, we've got Edelgard, the Piloswine. We're running Oblivious to make sure we can't get taunted. That helps make sure that we can get our Stealth Rock up, we can get our Reflect up, what have you. Adamant Nature, 84 speed. The reason we've got 84 speed is to make sure that we outspeed the stuff that's in the 60 base stat level, like the Clefable. Obviously we'd be able to get hits out on the Clefable, but depending on what set he's bringing, it's not like we'd be doing too much damage to the Clefable anyway, so that's kind of more to make sure that we can set up whatever we want to, like the Stealth Rocks or the Reflect first. Reflect is mainly there because if you look at his team, it's very, very, very attack heavy, physically attack heavy. So Cloister, Deblade, Dracozolt, they're going to be all of them. I expect to see physical attacks run on them. Obviously, Deblade can run, some special stuff, with like, or actually, I'm not even sure if it gets Shadow Ball. It might just be H/slash to get Shadow Ball. Either way, his team is, and he knows that. I've talked to him before, and he definitely understands that weakness to his team. So I don't think he'll be too surprised if he sees Reflect on one of my Mons. And then finally, we've got Dracovish. Choice Scarf this week. I'm running Jolly, max speed, max attack. The reason we're running Jolly over Adamant is worst case scenario, if we're in versus Dracozolt, we can speed tie, which obviously isn't the situation we want to be in. But if we roll the dice on being able to hit it with like an Outrage or something first, then we'll take that. Obviously, if Dracozolt gets up, a max airstream, something like that, then that's a moot point. But that's what we're going on and why we try to want to make sure we can outspeed that. And obviously, Fish's Run hits a lot harder when stuff is outsped, but we're going to need to meet certain conditions before Dracovish can come in and do the damage. Clefable obviously does not care about Dracovish because it's just so bulky. And then mods like Eldegoss are so physically defensive and resist water that you're talking about needing three hits before Eldegoss goes down. And if he's using something like a Cotton Guard set, then it's a moot point. I can click Vicious Rend all I want, that Eldegoss won't go down. And then with stuff like Giga Drain and whatnot, it can just sit there or Leech Seed, what have you, and just sit there and take those hits. So that's kind of what we're looking at here versus Mario this week. I think it's going to be a really tough battle, but his team is very threatening. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility that, he can sweep me. Last time we played early in the season, it was a very good game. It went down to literally the last move. We came up a little bit short due to the timer, but it would have been interesting to see how the last turn turned out. But it is what it is. This game, we've got very different teams than we played the first time. Different trades and acquisitions have been made since then. I think it was like week 8, about mid-season. So I'm very excited for this game, and we'll see how it goes here with my buddy Mario. All right, guys. Thanks.